Good evening. It's Friday night. It's me, Yank Talking Smack, TalkMU, and this is the Friday Night Takeaway.
Yes, indeed, MUFC.
Friday night, guys. How we well? Friday night for us. Was it Friday afternoon for you, Yank?
Yeah, it's 2 p.m. for me.
You got it nice. You got it nice. You finished the show. You've got the rest of your day to.
I'm off to the shops after this.
You're waiting.
Oh, really?
I'm off to the shops. Yeah.
What you going to go buy?
I got to go get food for the week from Costco. We got family coming in town, and of course, getting ready for the holidays. Got to have plenty of food.
Yes, always plenty of food, man.
And you know the size of me. I need plenty of food just to survive.
Right, Friday on the agenda tonight, lads. Mino Raiola, the scourge that is Manchester United. A couple of things came out this week. I was informed. I noticed a couple of things about the transfer window, and obviously us being linked to Haaland again. Obviously Mino Raiola being his agent is thrown a kibosh on that. Haaland actually answered a tweet talking about not coming to Manchester United if he wanted to win if he wanted to win league titles. Ha ha ha. And now Mino Raiola's been kicked in the ass with this levy that they're going to be putting on transfers, so he can only get 10%. So that 50-60 million that he was looking for to earn from his ownership, should we say, of Haaland look like it's gone out the window. So, what's your opinion on the Haaland's Raiola situation?
You know what I mean? Look, first of all, this levy on the earnings from deals done that are brokered via himself and agents like him. Do you know what? Listen, I think that's all more on paper. I think in reality, they're still going to get their mitts on lots of dough. Let's be real. You know what I mean? Clubs like to keep relationships sweet when it comes to people who can influence players of a standard like Haaland. So for me, I think on paper it's going to look, he's not going to get this. But you know what? Listen, he's still going to come out smelling the roses and smiling. That's in my opinion. Whether it can actually scupper the deal for us to actually get Haaland if he was interested in coming to United, I'm not so sure because, again, you know what I mean? Money talks, mate. We all know money talks. And you know what? If the numbers are right for Haaland and his father, and Mino can get his fair share, then it'll happen. He may well make it a little bit more difficult for us, but you know what? At the end of the day, when it comes down to if we're one of the clubs or the only club making the best offer for this kid, he's not going to turn it down. He's not going to turn it down. That's what I think, anyway.
Yank.
Man, you want to put a list of top 10 people I can't stand, and the Fat Where's Waldo is pretty high up on that list, if not number one. But I have to agree with Talk. I think no matter what, we know how he's like. He's just a money grubbing little prick, but he's signed on he signs all these super big players to his, to be their agent because he gets them money. And for people that are obsessed with making money while they're playing, like Pogba and like De Ligt and other people he's under, he's the perfect agent for him. But it makes me wary of really trying to go for Haaland, and especially with the meeting that he had in Barcelona this last week, it makes me really nervous and kind of unsure about how much I'm really dying for us to shell out the money to go deal with another Raiola client as we get Pogba out the door, hopefully, and see him leave.
We'll disagree about the Pogba, but we'll save that for a different.
I was waiting for that to be.
Everybody knows what Haaland's numbers are like. Let's be honest. Is there anybody out there that maybe Man United can turn to as an alternative, because look, we're looking at Haaland. He's going to be the go-to guy this season. The price that he's been quoted at, the price that's written into his contract means that somebody's going to get a bargain. I mean, if you can call 80 million a bargain, 75 million euros a bargain, then you've got a bargain on your hands. Is there anybody else that maybe United could be looking at?
There is an alternative that me and Connor have been sort of eyeing up, and young Dusan Vlahovic. But in regards to what you just said there, Mr. B, in terms of Haaland himself with the money side of things, the way this is now working is that Mino Raiola is saying, allegedly, to his players, look, if you're running your contract down, rather than me going to a club and saying, I want you to sign this player from this club for 150 million or 200 million or whatever it is in transfer fee, and then he wants 150 grand or 190 grand wages, he's saying, wait, hold on a minute, we don't need to do that. Run your contract down. I will then go to this club and say, look, his current value would be, you know what the current value would be of this player, would be 175 million, but you can sign him for 70 million. He's going to save you 100 million. However, we want at least 80%, maybe a little bit more, of that value in his wages and fees, obviously, for work, services provided. So we will save a little bit of money, but I don't think we're actually going to save shed loads, because Haaland will come for like a ridiculously, what we would say now, a low price, but he'll
make up for the wages that he demands.
Exactly, yeah. You know what I mean? So that's in itself. And you know what? When we talk about alternatives, this young Dusan Vlahovic, I mean, his numbers are absolutely astonishing. He's got fantastic numbers. Connor can tell us about that.
He's
tell
different.
us about Vlahovic.
Vlahovic he's different gravy. He'll turn 22 next January 28th. Currently 1.9 meters tall. So I'll speak in English terms for you guys, because if I talk in feet, you'll not have a clue what I'm talking about. And he's currently on 17 appearances. He's on 15 goals and 2 assists.
That's crazy numbers.
Contributes for 55% of all Fiorentina goals that they've scored, and has them 5th right now. Only if they win their game, which I think they'll win their game in hand, they'll only be 10 points back at first. Now, if you actually want a crazy stat, so he's currently valued at about 55, 60 million, but of course he'll probably sell for 80, 90. He'll sell for a pretty fee. Fiorentina bought him for 2.15 million.
Wow.
From Partizan Belgrade. So they're making a massive profit off this play. This is going to be, I think I've heard it's going to be one of the biggest sales of a Fiorentina player in their entire history as a club.
I mean, look, when we're talking about this player now, Haaland, right? Okay, look, Haaland's doing bits in the Bundesliga. We know what he's prolific. He's an animal. Big unit, powerful, strong, great eye for goal. However, it's not 100% guaranteed he's going to come to Old Trafford and light it up and get goal after goal after goal, right? Same applies to this young kid. However, when it comes to, I always like to talk about value, because that's a sensible way of looking at things. When it comes to value, either of these two kids, really, because they are both kids, when you look at what are the options, what other options would there be in terms of like the likes of a Cavani or a Cristiano Ronaldo, a prolific, proven striker at different clubs, different leagues around the world, coming to United. I don't see Ralph Rangnick going for that option. I think he wants to put in place now a young striker who's going to play alongside Mason Greenwood at some point.
And just sit there for years.
And actually just bang goal after goal after goal between him and Mason Greenwood, because as we stated earlier on the other show, Mason Greenwood is, we all know what Mason Greenwood is going to be. He is going to be somewhere else, the kid. He already is somewhere else, in my opinion.
He already is different. He's already incredible. It's insane at how young he is, how good he is. And it makes me laugh because I'm looking up the rumors of who he possibly would be going to. Most recent big rumor, of course, was back during the summer, was to Tottenham. But, if you're an Arsenal fan, what do we call Tottenham? Shit. There's no chance he goes to that club.
Who?
To Tottenham.
No, yeah, but which players you mean?
Vlahovic.
I don't see. Yeah, for Vlahovic, that's like on transfer market. The nearest rumor is for him going to Tottenham. Right now, it looks like it's between 3 clubs really looking into him, and it's Newcastle, Arsenal, and City.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, I just want to touch on this point here by Christmas time with Vaughan. We got to pick up Vaughan. He says, "I prefer a world-class left or right back to a striker." Now, I understand where he's coming from with that, but the only thing I'd say there is we've got like 2 of each, and for me, I think Ralph Rangnick is capable of getting out of that 4. He's going to get 2 players that are going to be able to adjust and provide what it is that he's requiring in the games. You know, I think we've got that there. If Cavani does leave for Barcelona, then and then Anthony Martial, because anyway he's not a striker, right?
Yeah.
And Anthony Martial does leave. We are then, yes, we've got Mason Greenwood. However, I think it's a bit unfair for everybody's eyes then to be facing Mason Greenwood, because that's what it'll turn into. You can't do this to the kid. He's only 20. You can't do that to him just yet. He's got to have. We need somebody else alongside him to help nurture him, so he can, you know, he doesn't want them kind of disappointments in his game where it's like, right, everything's set up now. It's all down to you. I mean, you can't do that to the kid. You know what I mean? He needs a bit more time, another couple of seasons of continuous play, getting good goal numbers, 15 plus per season, and then wallop. He'll be right on it for me.
No, I think this is, if we're looking at something to do, and I completely will agree with Bath Time that our main focus should not really at this point be on the striker. Even with Cavani possibly out the door, I honestly am not worried about our forwards, because, you know, Cavani leaves, that just pushes Greenwood to play more centrally. You know, we'll see Alonga come into the play next year. We'll see Ahmad probably get more game time next year. Palestri's asking questions because in preseason, we can all agree, Palestri was very, very good during the preseason before he went back out on loan again. So and then of course you have people like McNeil who are still coming up the system, and we all know how good Charlie McNeil has been for our academy. So I'm not so worried about the striker as much as I would love Vlahovic and Greenwood together, and I think they would take over complete. I think they'd each be on 20 plus goals a year next to each other, just in the Premier League, not in all competitions, but in the Premier League. I do think that our focus should be on other parts of the pitch, because we know what our weakness has been a lot. We heard it when Ralph first came in. We're averaging 2 goals against a game. That's unacceptable.
Yeah. 100%.
So do we shore up our backline first, especially with, like Mark Edmonds said, Juventus is under investigation. As much as they were leading the race, I'd kick them out of the race because they're under investigation, and it doesn't look like it's going well for them in that sense. But if there's the opportunity to sign Vlahovic, I won't say no. I just, at this time, would like to see us go shore up the spots that we know are difficult and go grab Haidara, go grab Kessié, go grab Dest for the wing, you know, stuff like that.
I do think, sorry, Mr. B, we kept you quiet, bro. You can't hear you.
I'm listening to you talk, man.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, you know, I just think between, we know Aaron Bissaka's strengths and we know Dalot's strengths, and I think Ralph Rangnick and his coaching staff, now that McKenna is, you know, on his way to Ipswich, and there's, you know, others are going to be heading as well out of the door, in my opinion. I think he's got enough there, and I think he can actually get these 2 at it. And the same on the right. We know about Roberto Carlos. We know Tellez. You know, we know what Alex Tellez has got in his locker. I think they're not that far away, in my opinion. So
are you not worried about the right side though, with Wan-Bissaka and Dalot?
Yeah, I am a bit, but I do believe there's enough though between them both, because what you got to create here is the, you know, they're firstly under the last management setup, were they fully aware of their weaknesses? Were they being told about their weaknesses? Were they being asked to work on them? Because if they weren't being asked and told in the right way, because quite clearly we could see it wasn't working. But in terms of, and under another setup like Ralph Rangnick and his, you know, Sasha Lanz and whoever else it is brought in with him, the sports psychologist as well is going to play his part. I just think that there is going to be a turnaround with these 2 guys. And I don't think, for me, right now, Ralph Rangnick's priority is we keep, because his style of play is all about keeping the ball away from the goalkeeper and us hunting the ball down, giving the opposition no time to actually turn the ball around so that they can get anywhere near our half to transition. That's the key as well. Because
I get that. I also would like to answer Ezra here.
Go on.
What do you mean by Ronaldo leaving in the summer? He's on a 2-year deal, mate.
No, he ain't going. And plus,
he's not going anywhere. I don't know. I get Cavani because Cavani's going to go. And as much as I love Cavani, El Matador will always be in my heart for some of the game winners he had for us and the play he's had for us. But I get it. He wants to move on. I'm not too upset about that. Martial, fuck off, get in the bin. But Ronaldo's not going anywhere. He's on a 2-year contract, so I don't know why you would think he's going anywhere. It's going to be Ronaldo and Greenwood leading the line most likely next year. And I see Rashford being dropped back into that middle two that we currently see a lot of Bruno and Sancho play.
Do you think we're going to hold? We're talking about a striker. I mean, Vaughan is kind of alluded to it that the striker's not the position that we actually need. You're talking about Cavani leaving. I know you said on the show earlier on he may be going to Barcelona. I think Cavani leaving, if Greenwood gets game time, I understand Greenwood is not a Cavani. He's not going to do the same running. He's not going to have the same mental intelligence. Cavani's probably forgotten more than Greenwood's learned in his career. But I have no issue Greenwood taking over the mantle or Rashford getting more game time to try and understand the system that he's playing if Cavani does go in. I don't see Cavani leaving in January as that, but I love Cavani. I think him playing in that formation under those instructions under Ranić, he'll cause a madness. But if a player is not happy and he wants to go to Barcelona, let's be honest, he's Latin by nature, so Barcelona is always going to be that draw for him. So if he has a chance to go and we can free up,
that's on me. My bad. Trying to look up something and
sorry. I wondered what the hell that was. I thought it was.
I was trying to look up transfer rumors.
Oh right.
You played an ad that was on the freaking page.
So that completely threw me off, mate. I wondered what the hell was going on. What was I talking about? My head's gone. Oh, you thrown me with that voice there now.
So Mason Greenwood and Cavani.
Do we believe that? Right, we've got an option to buy 2 players. Are we buying a striker? Even if Cavani goes, would we be buying a striker?
No.
Well, we're not. Listen, we know the team. Some will argue the team's unbalanced right the way through. However, from my point of view, the way I look at this is when you're playing the game, there are certain sort of areas of the pitch that need to be under your control, right? So, and we know where that is. We all understand where that is. The key to any football match is in that midfield. We know our midfield is somewhat unbalanced, right? So, and I see there's a comment saying that, Ralph may see Mason Greenwood as a number 10. Right, I see what you mean by that. However, when you look at the way Ralph's going to try and get us to play in this 4-2-2, then the idea there is that we keep this team we keep teams pending, we hunt the ball down, we're moving. So those between the front four, the front four, they will be interchanging. They'll be all over the place. They're going to have to interchange. They're going to have to move. You're going to, especially the teams that are going to then realize what we're doing and go, you know what? No, we've got to park the bus here. So in order for us to unlock the doors to that bus, to the net, we've got to have players moving about. You know what I mean? Making runs, interchanging, one dropping, one going. You know what I mean? So I understand where I think it was Vaughan who actually said it. Maybe that Mason may well play that role, and I think he'd be good at that role. He can. We know what he's like. He's got the skill set, in my opinion, to play behind a striker, but also as a striker. If you know what I mean by that.
Can I offer a hot take here on what I think we should actually do?
Go on.
So, Mr. B, you said Cavani goes, we get 2 players we sign this summer, right? 2 players.
Mm-hmm.
Do we sign a striker? I say no, and here's why. I think Vlahovic, we aren't even in the race really for him in the first place. Haaland, I don't.
This was us talking on the agenda. We haven't been linked to him. It's just that we were hoping if there was a rival.
Yeah, and I'll answer Ezra here. I think you go, if we can't get Haidara in January, get Kessie and Haidara as my 2 players in the summer. And if we sign a striker, because I think Vlahovic will go if we don't get him during the summer because we're not even in the race for him. There's another name. I've been pushing this man to come to United for the past year and a half now. I'm going to push his name out there again. Alexander Isak over at Real Sociedad. The big Swedish striker.
Is that the Swedish striker?
Big Swede. He's been called literally the African-American Zlatan for the past for his entire career. Currently, 5 games, 3 goals. 5 games.
Talk. I'm gonna trust your better judgment on this. By the way, if you're watching, please like, please subscribe, please share. If you're new to the channel,
that's in Europe.
Notification button so that you know when we're going live. Sorry, there you go.
That was just the Europa League. My bad.
Who did you say then? Sorry, Connor.
Alexander Isak. Currently, so Europa, he's got 3 goals in 5. La Liga, he's got 3 goals and an assist in 14. And then the Copa del Rey, he's got an assist in 1 game. So he's a decent player, and he's not only is he cheaper, he's a bigger guy. He's played very well at the Euros. That's another reason a lot of people were looking at him, because he did very well for Sweden during the Euros this year. He's a cheaper option, and I don't think he's rumored to leave somewhere as much as someone like Vlahovic is. So I feel like it may be a better option for us to go get Kessié, go get Haidara, go maybe get Serginho Dest or Frankie de Jong. Frankie de Jong is in my prayers. Frankie de Jong and Leon Goretzka are like my prayers for the midfield at United. But and then go get someone like Alexander Isak, who is not as young. He's 22. He actually was born a day before I was, but still a very young player, very good player, and a very tall player who can go kind of bring that different style of play from Greenwood. Greenwood, we know, is very much a dual-footed, kind of quicker guy who's going to make those runs. Isak brings a bigger player, kind of like a Zlatan, which is why he's been, called another version of Zlatan. He brings that ability he's very good with heading the ball. He's a very tall guy. He brings that aerial threat to the front of the line that Haaland kind of brings, but at a very much cheaper price.
Well, you know what? If he's cheaper and he's got good numbers and everything else, then yeah, maybe it would be an option. But I think for me, we have to agree that it's the midfield is the problem.
Yeah,
that's the problem right now, because we've seen combinations. I say that, but obviously we don't know what's being said around Paul Pogba. We don't know what the conversations have been had between Ralph Rangnick and Paul Pogba.
He's gonna go. He's gonna
go. Paul Pogba's gone, and I'm just gonna say
we don't know that.
Paul Pogba and Mino.
I'm sorry, Connor. If you do that again, mate, I'm gonna cut your camera feed and cut you off and leave you in the States, mate. I tell you, there's no Pogba slander on here while I'm on. Thank you very much.
All right, then just this to Mino and that freaking fat Where's Waldo prick.
Let's be real here. Paul Pogba is our best midfielder.
I love him, but I don't love his attitude, and I don't love how he handles himself off the pitch. I hate off the pitch nuisances. People who can't get their crap together. It's one of the reasons that I'm not as big of a fan of Neymar as I really think a lot of other people, because I don't like players that have off the field crap all the time. We know there's the whole joke of Neymar always fakes an injury right around his sister's birthday to go home and make sure that he's there. I just don't like those. I don't like those kind of players. And Pogba is a giant headache. I don't think he's worth it. I don't think he's worth the headache he brings with not keeping his agent's mouth shut, not staying healthy, and if he's not going to commit, then there's no reason for him to be here. If you haven't committed and it's January of the final year of your contract, you're not going to commit.
Yeah, but what we have to all remember here is when it comes to Paul Pogba, is he's trusting his agent to do the right thing by him. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that he agrees with everything that his agent says or does. He's just leaving it to him because apparently he's the best agent. So, you know what, leaving it so late, it's like, well, look, are you getting me a better deal or not? Because if he's not, then he's going to be staying at Manchester United. There's no two ways about that. Now, the question we've got to ask ourselves is, if that's the case, and he does stay at United under Ralph Rangnick, is he going to be capable of being the player that Ralph Rangnick will need him to be in order for him to be picked week in, week out? Yeah. That's the question I've got. You know what I mean? So, and I've said it before, we know his skill set is there. It's his short, his takeoff speed from dead ball.
It's so slow. He needs a long time to get going on all cylinders.
Yeah, so you know what? He would need a lot of help. He would need a lot of help in order to be able to work the ball the way we want him to in a midfield that is kind of pressing or being, teams may want to try and counter press us. They'll be like, okay, if you're going to press us, we're going to be close to you and cut out your options when you do win the ball back.
I love this. I got a stat on so I just looked up for Isak. I wanted to look up his career numbers. Currently 100 goals at the senior level, 100 goals and assists on 193 games.
Wow.
100. 22.
100, yeah, 22. He's got 100 goals and assists, 77 goals, 23 assists in 193 games at the senior level. And that's for Sociedad, William II, Dortmund. He actually scored quite a bit for Dortmund and for AIK. But for Dortmund alone, I'm looking at his stats. He had 10 goals in about 20 games.
He's asking for XG on here. He's asking for. I don't understand all of this expected. I don't understand how you could expect to score a goal. My brain can't work out.
The thing I'm using doesn't use expected goals. It doesn't show me expected goals on. But for me, I just think, and then you look at he's got 8 goals in 31 appearances for Sweden. We all know Sweden's not a huge, world national power, especially since we've had, Zlatan leave. But for me, when I look at the stats and I've seen him play, I've watched him play, I've used the eye test a ton.
The OMONDI test, yeah?
I've used the OMONDI test, as well as, as like OMONDI said, someone's good at their job when they're tall.
Yeah, that was funny. Did you see that, Mr. B? You have to go back and watch it.
Like OMONDI said, someone's better at their job when they're tall. I've looked at the eye test. I've done the OMONDI test, and I see him being a great guy to partner with Mason because he brings that. We see a lot of times good strike partners are players that don't have the exact same way of playing.
Hold on, Mr. B.
Exactly what he brings.
You got a bit fuzzy there, bro. I thought it was my eyes for a second. Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, you look like a TV back in 2001.
Yeah, you fizzed out there, bro. You're back now, though. You're back in the room.
I don't know what's going on. Before I forget, we normally do Wally of the Week on a Friday. We never had any errors. Everybody was clean. So I know we'll have Rebel and Yank on here talking smack, having a look and clipping us for next week. So well done, guys. You didn't help our show on a Friday, but thanks. Solo, I hope you're back to normal from tomorrow. I know you were very, very good this week. Maybe we'll
just need to get him predicting lineups.
Yeah, well, look, I said
we'll have.
That's why he hasn't been on.
He'll put Aaron Wan-Bissaka at striker, and we'll have him dead to rights.
To be fair though to Solo, he has got a lot of his team selections right.
No, he has.
Over the month.
He has.
By the way, and I say, Vaughn, I get your whole weaker leagues thing, but again, I'm talking about one of the teams he played for that he did very well at. The 2 teams that he's done the best for have been Dortmund in the German league and Villarreal in the Spanish league. So Willem too, he just kind of was a little stop for him. He wasn't there super long. He was only there, a season before he left again. But his main time he's been at Dortmund or he's been at Real Sociedad. So I think for me that's why it shows like he's not been these weaker teams. He's actually been in very good teams, very good leagues, and still performed. Bayern coming off of winning the champ. I can't call a team a league weak when teams from their league are going and dominating Europe. I don't know. Am I talking out my ass here, or am I? What do you think?
No. Listen, I said it before. This is what I said before. It's about no player is ever going to be guaranteed to come to the Premier League and do well, especially at a club the size of Man United. It's just it's just not. It doesn't work like that. So it's always going to be a risk. You know what I mean? So you're always taking a risk with any player. But I mean, for me, I think either of these two that we know about, young Vlahovic or Erling Haaland, then I think for me that either of them would, I think they've been more than capable of, doing what we require them to do. Just put that ball in that net, But again, there's no point in us putting all our eggs in one basket in the striking position if again we still cannot work the ball through control the ball in the midfield and find ways of working it around teams that are either parking the bus and then we have to go wide. If that's the case, that's where then things can break down for us. We'll lose the ball. Then they are then on us. Then we're then in a position we don't want to be in. But again, if you've got a decent midfield, you can control that. You can control that part of the pitch, which is key.
Yeah,
I just want to go into this. Welcome. Is that Reggie? My eyes are so bad on a Friday.
Reggie STV.
From Reggie STT. STV. What's up, peeps? Do you think agents should have to pay grassroots tax for the country that they do the transfer in?
I'm all for it.
I'll put it from my view. I run a club. Well, I'm a manager of a club, grassroots club. All right, it's adult grassroots, but it's still grassroots. Any money that comes in from outside anything we would have to make, I would be glad with. So I don't know how it would filter down. I don't know what the process would be, but I just think that that's a brilliant idea. I just don't understand why it's taken so long. Welcome, Reggie. Anyway, new to the channel. Oh, my guy. Let me see. I haven't even. It's going. Let's see. Look, this. I said it's not even a matter of not grasping. I would like a France Paul Pogba to be playing for Man United, and we haven't seen that. So if he goes, he goes. He goes. It's not everybody passes for a club. Everybody's a servant for the club at some stage or the other. It's just how well they serve up the dinner. Right now, Paul Pogba hasn't been serving the dinner very well. So he can go with my blessing or without my blessing, doesn't really matter. But that is how it is, and that is what it is. Christmas time with Vaughan.
Edmund's been talking absolute facts the entire time. His last comment is exactly why is exactly right. We can get those two for 33 million total because Kessie is a free right now.
Kessie, he played for AC Milan.
Yeah,
and look, business. Let's be honest. Man United need to be smart in the transfer market in January, and in the summer. The decisions that Ranić makes, I think, will only put us in good stead going forward. I think the issue that maybe he's going to have is there's a lot of fans' favourites. Whether or not those fan favourites will be getting the game time. I mean, I'll be honest, I would be pissed to shit. I know people call him Trashford and all of that, but if Rashford's not playing regularly in whatever formation Ranić's playing, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah, so, I agree. I'm a huge fan of Rashford. I think he deserves to be. And it's not like people, and I love how it's like, oh, people use the whole goal and assist merchant bull crap. I want to smack the absolute fuck out of whoever says that to me again to my face in person, because I think it's the biggest load of shite I've ever seen in the world to say, oh, his goals and assists are great, but he's shite. What the fuck do you mean? That's like saying, oh, great, you're great at your job. Your numbers are great. You're selling a lot, but you're a shite. You're really bad at sales. Like, he's literally doing his job. He may not look beautiful every single game, but he's doing his job. He's doing exactly what he's on the team for, which is
he's not 100% match fit either, in my opinion.
No, he's not. And so everybody's going, well, he's shite. It's like, well, one, he's not 100% fit. I think you need to, give him some more time to rest and get back to his best. But even then, he's not been terrible. It's not like he's been trash. Like people, he's not been this awful play. He's not Werner, for fuck's sake. That's the end of my cursing rant. I just hate that stuff. It gets that gets under my skin really easily. My apologies, Mr. B.
I'd give Marcus the armband when he's 100% match fit.
Would you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what? I wouldn't even have contemplated giving Marcus the armband, but I think that's a brilliant shout.
Macbone and Brad, he's performed every year.
Just a quick yes or no for Marcus's future captain at Old Trafford. I mean, what are we saying? That Maguire gets stripped of it? Is this what we're saying? He's giving it to somebody else?
You got to play this. You got to play. You play the captain's armband to your advantage. You know what I mean? And a player like Marcus Rashford, we know what he brings to the squad. You know what I mean? He's absolutely top notch, Marcus Rashford. And I think if he did have that kind of responsibility, I think he's got a voice. And in fact, I know he's got a voice. Look what he did to the government, the British government.
Just look at his Twitter the past year and a half. We can see what he's done.
So you know what? There you go. That tells you everything you need to know about Marcus Rashford. He ain't going to be afraid to rant and rave at people and demand, more out of people.
Plus, he's been here for a bit. It's not like he's some brand new person coming in who's just coming into the club.
No, he's been there since he was 7.
Rashford's been here for quite a bit. He knows the club better than most of the players.
Yeah.
Shaw, I would say right now, has been. I think the reason for Shaw, and I'm not going to curse here, Mr. B, I promise. The reason I think Shaw has been considered so terrible this year is because he was so amazing last year that him dropping off a little bit and not being as good as he was last year means that he's playing terribly. But yet he comes back after concussions and in his first game back has an assist for Greenwood in the Champions League.
You know what? I agree with that, but I'm going to be slightly different there. Luke Shaw had been a bag of shite for a little while. We brought Tellez in. Luke Shaw stepped up his game. I defended Luke Shaw against Tierney from Arsenal, Robertson from Liverpool. I had him above these players, and he came back this season, and he's been
below where he was last year for sure.
He's been a lot below. I mean, I think he's been below the level he was before he had this great season.
I think the concussion woke him up.
Well, I mean, look, he needs another kick in his head then, because right now he's got the ability. We know he's got the ability, but for whatever reason, something's not working. Something's not clicking with him. Maguire again, Jesus Christ. I mean, let's be honest. He stank.
He's not been nearly as good as he was.
Right. So do you think that, because I was thinking, maybe it's a Euro hangover, but then you look at the rest of the players who went on there, nobody's had that drop-off. Nobody's had that bigger drop-off. Form might have dropped off a bit, but that drop-off has been amazing for those two. So I would say Rashford as captain is a good call. Is a good call. You think these changes will be made in the summer?
Yeah. I don't think they're going to do it mid-season. Because I think if you do it now with Rangnick in charge and not 100% certain he's going to be the one staying on as manager, I don't think you do it. But if you have Rangnick stay on as manager after the 6 months, it's his team. He can then make the move. Or if it isn't Rangnick and he moves upstairs and you see, someone like Ten Hag or someone else come in, then they have the opportunity to then make that move during the summer. So they start the season fresh with a brand new captain.
Yeah. Cool. I'm up for that. Yeah, man, I'm up for that. I'm definitely up for that. So I'm not.
Josie just hated him, Vaughn, though. Josie just hated Shaw. It wasn't his work. Oh. He was injured so much, and then Josie just absolutely hated him.
Josie just had the wrong idea when it comes to how to motivate players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Josie's not a good person.
Rangnick hasn't even had. He's been there for 5 minutes, man. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
you've got to give this guy time. Let him work his magic that he's got, and then we'll see by the end of the season we were gonna see exactly what Ranić's about. We're gonna see what a lot of the players are about. And in my opinion, I think we're gonna have a good end of the season. And because what's happening right now, with the football being put on hold, so to speak, if that's what's going to happen, which it's looking likely, that could be a great thing for us. You know,
I'm hearing that from a lot of people, but can I go a slightly different way? If these players have COVID, they're going to be tired as shit when they come back.
Yeah.
And Ranić's going to have these men working at 177 miles an hour. Maybe they're not going to be able to cope. I'm just putting it the other way. I'm just going the other way. I would rather agree with you, but I'm being the devil in the room for the last few minutes.
I think you got to really test for the whole long COVID thing, because we hear a ton of people go on about the whole long COVID thing, and now there's been the concerns about breathing problems we saw with Lindelof coming off, and now needing to have a heart monitor for the next couple of days with his breathing problems. Heck, we just saw Sergio Aguero retire. Like, dude's gone from being one of the best in the world. He's retired, not on his own fruition, but because he had to. So, and now we've seen Eriksen and Inter have now cut ties because he's not allowed to play with a pacemaker. So, I can understand, Mr. B, your heavy concern for players coming back from COVID when we know the effects that long COVID has had and the breathing problems that we've seen players have. Many, many players having to come off with breathing problems, feeling very faint, stuff like that. It makes me very concerned about any player coming back from COVID immediately. We saw how long it took for Scott McTominay and, I don't think Scott McTominay, but Dean Henderson, people who've gotten COVID, we've seen how long it takes them to really get back. So I can understand, Mr. B, your concern about trying to, especially with the pressing style that we have with Ranić, where he wants, like you said, 170% effort every single moment to be pressing and running and all the time being going. It's concerning.
Talk.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing. I mean, it doesn't affect. I don't think it affects every player the same way. But yeah, we do. There was something there. Pogba was hit hard. There's a player currently in. I can't remember which player it was. There's currently a player in Europe who's probably got lung problems because of it. But I think what we've got to look at here is if they do get the virus and they're sort of symptom free, or it doesn't really affect them, and then they're clear when they get their tests, the whole lot can go back. The whole lot can get back into training. Most of the squad can be back in training before football is resumed by the FA and the Premier League. So from my point of view, for that, then that's a good thing for us, because Ranić will have a lot of time to work with a team, away from any games. He's got more time to get his message across and try and get them to do what he wants them to do. So, I wish this thing wasn't happening altogether. That would be my first wish. We just get on with the games and do our thing. But you got to try and take positives out of a bad and negative situation like this, and that's the only positive that I can take out of it, to be honest.
I want to leave the final word to you, Yank.
I'm excited for the rest of the year with this team. I really am. I know there's concerns from a couple different people about Ranić and being in charge, but I do think that this won't just be a case of the honeymoon phase with a new manager and then we, move on from there and end up being crap. I do think there's a really big potential for this club to be very good. I do think, as much as I would love Vlahovic, I'm going to really say no to Haaland at this point. But as much as I would love Vlahovic, we're not in the conversation for him. It's going to cost way too much when we need to focus on other areas. So I would love to see us go be, like you said, Mr. B, be smart in the transfer market with people going out and bringing players for cheap that we know will be very solid for us.
Agreed. Look, you guys, as Yank, I'm going to use a word that Yank used there, smart. You've been smart. You've been watching us on the Friday night takeaway. Respect to the newbies, Regigi, STV, Christmas time with Vaughan, Jackie, Solo, Mark, Ezra, 007. You know who you are, mate. You know who you are. Thanks again. It's Friday. I know you don't have to be here. You know we're glad that you are. This was the Friday Night Takeaway with me, Mr. B, Talk MU, and Yank talking smack. We will be back next week, Friday. See you then.
Yep.